So we have the Ursa Mini here. So last year we originally came out with the Ursa camera. Great camera, beautiful screen on it, all that kind of stuff. Set up primarily as a workflow camera with person audio on one side, another guy pulling focus on the other side. Great on tripods, but a lot of people ask, what if I want to pull that off? I want something more portable, I want a handheld, I want to run and gun and shoot, things like that. We wanted to make something a little bit smaller, obviously more compact, so we shrunk down the Ursa. We made the Ursa Mini. It's 5 pounds, so you can run and gun with this thing no problem. Still has Super 35 size sensor, EF, PL mount. A lot of the options you would see on the regular Ursa. 5-inch touchscreen, 1920 by 1080. You can go through all your menus here. Of course, you can see the video on there. Just like the original Ursa, CFast card recording. One fills up, it jumps directly to the next one. You can do all the flavors of ProRes in there, and then you can also do the Cinema DNG RAW files. This camera will do up to 60 frames a second in 4K. Mm-hmm. You have your battery pack option here. XLRs are in the top. You have SDI out, reference in, time code in, you have your power. The rosettes on the side, this is one thing I love about this camera, is that you build rosettes here, and then what you can do is you can add on the shoulder pad, and it comes with the extension arm here. It has rosettes built into here too, and the top handle comes with that. So all 3 pieces are around $395.
Great.
This handle will come with the camera itself. 15 stops of dynamic range if you get the 4.6K model, and then if you get the 4K model, it'll go up to 12 stops of dynamic range.
Very good.
The last thing I'd like to mention is the viewfinder. So this is new this year. It's the Blackmagic viewfinder. It goes up to 1920 by 1080, full HD color of the lens. You can pull up focus charts. You can also pull up focus peaking on that too. It has an OLED on it. It's eye sensitive, so you don't want to burn out the OLED, so it'll actually turn on and off as you go to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What sort of limitations are you looking at compared to the original Ursa?
Well, frame rate. So the original Ursa, we actually had an upgrade on that one, and now that one can get up to 120 frames a second in 4K, 240 in HD. This one will do 60 in 4K, but you can get up to 120 in HD, the HD window. Yeah. So there's 2 different sensors. You can do EF or PL on any of the cameras, but there are 2 different sensors. There's a 4K sensor, that would be 12 stops of dynamic range. Then you move up to the 4.6K. Of course, the resolution size changes, but certainly stops. That's 15 stops of dynamic range.
Sure.
Yeah.
I remember in the original Ursa there was discussion of being able to change sensors. Is that the case with the new 4.6?
That's right, yeah. So we had an upgrade to the original Ursa, so you can get to the 4.6K now, and you can get those 15 stops of dynamic range. And there was an update to get to 120 frames a second,
sure.
240 in the HD window.
And how does that process work for existing Ursa owners?
Right now we're working through that. We're going to start shipping out in May, hopefully. But I think what will happen is you'll have the option to probably send your camera back if you want to, or do it yourself, or maybe go to a reseller and have it done. So this camera is the Blackmagic Micro Cinema camera. So last year we had the Pocket Cinema camera. Excellent camera, but people were trying to put it in these small little places, or maybe on the dash of a car, and they were trying to get up to it and hit the record button on it. They couldn't see where it was. They couldn't tell if they were recording. So we really wanted to make something small and compact. But as you can see here, we took care of that problem by adding the record button right here, and then you have a tally light, so you know if you're recording. Great thing about this camera is it has the protocols here with the expansion port. You can actually go in and do all the radio, like airplane radio controls, to put this in a quadcopter or in a drone. And you would get iris control, focus, zoom, all those things right through that expansion port. HDMI out, and there is a port on the bottom and the top in case you want to hook on a monitor or something. It records the SD card, so you can do all the flavors of ProRes, and you can do the Cinema DNG RAW files on this. So this camera will do up to 60 frames a second in HD, 30 frames a second in HD, sorry about that. 13 stops of dynamic range, and it has a micro 4/3 lens mount. And so it doesn't have a monitor, as you see. It has menu options here. What we've done is we have Blackmagic Video Assist monitors. So this one is a 1920 by 1080 full HD screen, 5-inch. Have mounting ports on the top, mounting ports on the bottom. You can mount this right here, and then you could jump right into your menu options through either HDMI or SDI, in and out. It does have a recorder built into it also, so you can record right into SD card here too. And then the other thing that you can do is have battery options in the back. If you don't want to power it, you want to be remote out in the field. It only uses 1 battery, so these are hot swappable. And think you can customize this to do just about anything you want. So it's a very hackable camera, so I think you'll see a lot of third-party people building things with the camera.
Sure. We can move on down here.
Yeah, so this one is very similar. It's hard to tell them apart at times. No record button on here. This is a live studio camera. So this is a Blackmagic Micro Studio Camera 4K. So you can get up into the 4K option with this. 60 frames a second in HD, 30 frames a second in 4K. Has the expansion port again, so you can go remote wirelessly if you're doing sports and you're up in a backboard, basketball hoop, or you're down in a soccer goal. There's a lot of options on the side of a helmet. Wirelessly transmit back to someone through the expansion port. HDMI out here, and it does have SDI connections on it too. Again, Micro Four Thirds lens mount. The great thing about this camera is that through the expansion port, if you want to do a ring adapter and go to a B4, you have that option with the expansion port.
Great. And then with this camera, there's no internal recording. It would only be external recording.
That's right, but you do have the option to go HDMI out or SDI out to something like our HyperDeck to record. So you could even record the 4K out of this.
Sure.
That's pretty much it. You can use the video assist on this camera also. If you need to get to the menus, then you can hook that on the 5-inch monitor.
Very good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yep.